You spoke with Kimberly Williams Paisley, big star, married to a big star, but normally very private. But she felt it was important to come and speak about something.
She thought it was very important, and she also thought the time was right to share this. You know her, Kimberly Williams Paisley, and it was a surprise revelation, something that the family has been dealing with personally. Her husband, Brad Paisley, you know very well. And it's about facing her mother's a form of dementia. It's a condition more than 35 million people live with today. And Kimberly just really, it was a beautiful essay that she wrote in the current Red Book, and that spurred our conversation. And she said, this is, everybody deals with it differently, but this is their story of dealing with it. We first got to know Kimberly Williams Paisley as the daughter in Father of the Bride.
I'm engaged, I'm getting married.
In real life, Kimberly is the wife of country music superstar Brad Paisley and a mom of two boys.
Hey, Raina.
A working mom, she was thankful that her most recent role on ABC's show Nashville kept her close to home.
Oh my God.
Peggy?
I was distraught that your character was killed off of Nashville.
You and me both. I know, that was unfortunate. Shot through the heart by a stray bullet. I mean, come on.
What are the chances?
I know.
How far in advance did you know that was going to happen?
They let me know in the summer. I mean, I have to take a step back and remember that this character of Peggy was only supposed to be in 3 episodes. So I'm lucky that she lasted as long as she did.
I've had the privilege of spending time with you and Brad at home in Nashville. Can't believe how the little ones are growing up so.
They do that. Our oldest is about to turn 7. And we're guilty of babying the youngest just because we know, he's growing up and where's that baby going? So yeah, it's so fun though. They're at a great age.
As Kimberly watches her sons, Huck and Jasper, thrive and grow, for years she's also had to watch her mother, Linda Williams, succumb to a disease called primary progressive aphasia, a form of dementia for which there is no cure, something Kimberly is finally ready to speak about publicly. What was it about this moment in that you wanted to share the story of your mother?
My mother's finally at a point where I feel like it's okay to talk about it. There was a long time that she didn't want us to talk about it, and that was so much a part of the stress of what we were all going through, was that we had to hide it and cover up for her and protect her pride. And I just felt like we were at a point where our story could help other people.
Before we can talk about where you are now and your family, take us back to those dark moments.
She started showing symptoms about 2 years before she was diagnosed. It seemed stress related. It seemed that she had more anxiety. It seemed that she was fighting to find words more than she used to. But it was actually my mom who came to us and said, something's wrong. I'm having trouble finding words. I'm having trouble writing my name on my checks at the grocery store.
It had to be a very frustrating time.
Yes, and when she came to us and said something's wrong, we all said, well, you're not getting enough sleep, or you're stressed out. And anyway, finally, she convinced my dad to quietly go get tests done, and we didn't even know that they were going through these tests for months. And then they sat us down one Christmas and told us that what her diagnosis was, and that it was going to be 5 to 7 years before she'd need full-time care, and she's pretty much been right on schedule. And my dad was in the midst of it, and it's very dangerous for the caregiver. People don't always realize that, and I know my dad didn't realize it in the depths of where he was. It was hard for him to see the truth that he was withering away. We finally convinced him that she needed to be put into a long-term care facility. And so, I mean, I would just say to people going through it to keep an eye on the caregiver.
And for those 5 and 7 years, your mother had her own communication with your kids?
That was really fascinating. When I found out what her diagnosis was, I thought, wow, she's just not going to know my kids. And what was so cool was seeing how she actually really did interact with my kids on a way that I didn't even interact with them. Both down on the floor, being really goofy and silly, and my kids adored her. They played really well together.
You have to hang on to those moments.
Definitely.
And remember that. The mother that you grew up with is not the mother that you have now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you cope with that?
What I had to come to is being able to let go of the mother that I grew up with, because she's not there. And the pain came from looking at the person that's there now and comparing it to who was there. That's painful. But if I say goodbye to that person who doesn't exist anymore and say hello to this person that I still have a bond with, it's much easier to love her and to be with her.
And being with her mother now also means learning a new way of expressing love for each other.
My mom used to be very articulate and was one of the best listeners in our family. Communication with her now is very different. She communicates on an emotional level, and music is a very effective way of communicating with her. I was just with her, and when I sang a song that she knew, her face would light up. When I sang a song she didn't know, it wouldn't. So it's interesting to find that there are still some memories there, and that's a way of engaging with her.
What was the song you sang?
You Are My Sunshine. An old classic.
An oldie but a goodie. And again, they emphasize that every family dealing with this, it's different for everyone, but this is how it is now. But she also said something that was very fascinating. A lot of times people dealing with this form of dementia, they have an outburst, and it's like a shout, it's very loud. And Kimberly was taught by her dad to match the volume of the shout and then bring it down. So that's a helpful hint if you have someone that is going through that. So she matches it because she wants to say, I'm hearing you, I relate to you, but then brings it down.
It's a subtle way.
Yeah, but just finding different ways of communicating with her mom.
I also think it's so helpful, the whole idea of not letting go, but saying that mom is not here anymore, but I still have this mom, and I can appreciate the time with this mom.
I love those pictures of the grandkids there too.
And if you have a chance, the Red Book essay is absolutely beautiful, and they truly feel it's going to help some families that are dealing with this.
Great.